Guest, Michelle Simpson Tuegel. She's a civil attorney, criminal defense attorney, and also a former jury consultant. And, one of the things I wanted to bring to light here, Michelle, is that, people say we're in this post-racial era. I don't know how much I believe in all of that. But I will say today, we can no longer look at a jury and look at the race of someone and really determine how they're going to vote in a case like this.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think even in those short summaries of pieces of information that we have from those people, we see people from all backgrounds with views that may not match up with our stereotypes. And that's one of the really dangerous things about just looking at that demographic information and not really digging in and getting the deeper questions that they're having the opportunity to do. That time and those answers are the most telling and the most important information that they can gather in trying to determine who can serve on this jury, and more importantly, trying to figure out who to eliminate. Because that's really what I'm often looking at as a jury consultant, is who can we get rid of for cause that doesn't need to be on this jury. I always tell my clients, this is not a process of picking who we want. It's a process of deselecting who can't be a fair juror. And I think that's what they've been trying to do, and hopefully what we'll end up with on the jury.
So that's interesting, because it sort of, I don't know if it vitiates my next question, but my next question was going to be, give me some insight as a jury consultant, because I find that stuff fascinating, what type of juror you might be looking for. But maybe it's not necessarily who you're looking for, it's who you're not looking for almost.
It really is. I mean, that's really the method that I learned is from a jury consultant named Robert Swafford, and it is called the for-cause method, because we are looking at who we can strike for cause, not even using our peremptories, but looking at who can't be fair and how do we get those people out, and also trying to identify those stealth jurors, because that's a real concern here, is somebody who really wants to be on this jury. And I know we have one of those people who self-identified, but the stealth jurors are people who really want to be on, but they don't tell you that.
That's interesting. All right, I want to highlight a couple of jurors who I think might be interesting or jumped out at me. First and foremost, let's take a listen to juror number 89, and then we'll discuss her for a minute.
Sure.
The question, or what opinions you may have expressed. You said, how could police kneel on someone until dead? Was kneeling on him appropriate? So are you asking these questions in the abstract, or do you have an opinion that this was too long to kneel on someone?
I suppose probably asking abstractly, but
well, let me ask you more concretely then. Have you formed an opinion as to the actions of Mr. Chauvin?
I have not.
So whether you're asking the question of how could it be this long, right?
Okay.
Is that indicative of an opinion that you think it was too long?
Sounds like it, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I have to take you at face value. I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? I'm trying to see what's
I suppose knowing that Mr. Floyd died, I would say yes, it was too long.
All right, now she's a nurse, right? She's in her 50s, and we love nurses. Nurses are great jurors. Now, I'm wondering in a case like this, if you think she might pose a little bit of a danger, because folks are going to turn to her. There's a lot of medical evidence that's going to be coming in. Might they be turning to her for answers and not paying as much attention to what's going on in the courtroom when they go into that jury deliberating room?
No, it's certainly a concern, and it's the same reason why lawyers usually don't want a lawyer on their jury. It's that you don't want the entire jury looking to that person as an expert and sort of as the be-all, end-all or evidence, rather than the evidence itself, and then deliberating and making their decision based on that. And certainly because this comes down to this man's heart stopping, that we have a cardiac nurse on the jury who the jurors may in that room look to in some way about different issues that are medical is a concern. And it does kind of make you wonder if you've got, in essence, that lawyer on the jury who the jury is going to turn to and really base some of their decision making on.
Now, when you are advising clients, are you trying to advise them in terms of who might be a jury foreman and maybe treating that person different?
We do. I use a method where we rank potential jurors first with a leader or a follower. And that really does play into looking at people who are bad for us and leaders are the worst for us, because that is someone who could end up being your jury foreman and they're bad for you. And so I certainly do label and rank people in that way, looking at who could end up leading this jury, not just as a foreman, that's important, but also just as a voice in the room.
Now, there's a woman on here. She's 60 years old. She's a black woman, but she pretty much, her views were right down the middle. She was, all lives matter and not necessarily, in either camp. Is age a factor in who might end up leading? Do you think some of this younger jury might be looking up to these older women?
They definitely can. And having tried many cases and talking to juries after the trial, I have definitely seen younger jurors defer in that room and tell me after the trial that they were asking the older jurors what they thought. But it can be very much based on personality in that person as well, because sometimes young people also have a lot of energy. It can be really stubborn and could hold out if they think that they're right. And so that can play both ways.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the millennials, right? Because the millennials certainly can come across that way. And I think there's a couple on the jury who sort of fall, excuse me, into that category. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Michelle Simpson Tuegel, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciated your insights. I wish we had more time, but I'm going to have to let you go. I hope you'll come back and join us again.
Certainly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.